Welcome to the Two Beasts podcast, where best friends Chris and Ollie try and figure out this complicated thing we call life. We hope you enjoy. Excuse around it, not me. Okay?
Good. Yeah. Talk about excuses. Are we live?
Oh, hello, fucknuts.
Oh, what a way to start. Fuck no.
Welcome back
funnily enough, that was actually, that came off a film. I remember someone said that in a film once. I think it might have been a Simon Pegg and Nick Frost film.
Oh, there you go. Well, there you go.
Yo, fuck nuts.
Sorry for
welcome,
sorry
everyone.
for biting that.
Yeah, welcome, everyone. Welcome back to the Two Beasts podcast.
Yes, we're back with a new episode. This week we've actually got, okay, first of all, very limited time because
It's a bit limited.
Ollie's decided that he's got to get a train to work, so he can just, he's...
Oh, I've decided I've got to get a train to work because instead I drive and not get any editing for this podcast done. You're fucking welcome.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've got him there, haven't I? Fucking hook, line and sinker, I've got you there, son.
Ooh. Yeah. Right, that's gonna
Anyway.
There's other problems with that, but we won't go into those now. Yeah, so this week I wanted to talk... Oh, this whiteboard's still here. Hold on. Right.
We pay good money for that.
We paid 20 quid.
That's all we've got at the moment. We're not monetizing this shit.
Oh, what are you talking
Jesus.
about? The Give Viewers have bought loads of video services from
yeah.
individuals winning films.
Yeah, nice. Great. All into your bank account.
Oh, God. Now my phone's going to go off as well. Hold on. Oh, I don't know what to do. Right, so Ollie's rushed me with this episode. Right, let's get serious now. This is a podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Serious faces on, everyone.
We actually have got
You
a
at
serious...
home have got to get the serious faces on too.
We've got a serious topic this week.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll tell you why in a minute. There's a reason why I'm a little bit delirious as well. That fucking thing's going to keep going off, isn't it? There's a reason why I'm a little bit delirious this week. Okay. I wanted to talk about quitting. And more importantly, how not to quit. Because if we are going to fulfill our journey of being two beasts...
Correct.
And presumably this is a journey that you, the viewers, are also on. You want to be better. We want to be the best version of ourselves. If we're going to get there, then when the time comes that we feel like quitting, we have to be able to not quit. That's an option that's off the table.
Yeah.
Right now it's an option for a lot of people.
Yeah.
If you're out on a run and your leg starts hurting, you get tired, or you run out of calories, or your legs start feeling heavy, you hit that wall, walking away from it is an option. Where is it?
This is going to be such a good short.
Block app.
I'm going to gather each of those clips together and turn them into a great short for everyone at home. Anyway, back into it, quitting.
So I'll tell you what sparked this inspiration for me doing this podcast.
Go for it.
Yesterday I did, and first of all, I'm well aware people do a lot harder work than I do. But yesterday I did a 21-hour day. Got up about 5 a.m, 4-hour drive to work, 11-hour shoot, carrying kit all across central London, all the rest of it. It was an absolute fucking ball ache. Get back to the car, drive about halfway back home, stay in a hotel. It's about 21 hours. Sleep 4 hours, come home, because I got to get this podcast edited, uploaded for today's episode, which was episode 8 for future reference. This is when we're filming it. And, I was tired. And there were times when I was being a little weasel about it, going, well, no nap. I don't really want to do this because I'm tired and all the rest of it. Now, the thing is, when I am a beast, that will not be an option.
Correct.
When I am a beast, tiredness will not matter. No. Sleep is not a thing that I will have to contend with any further.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I just got on with stuff and just carried on and was fine. And it got me thinking... Well, I wanted to basically explore some of it, because we've done things in the past where we've reached the precipice of wanting to quit, and we have managed not to.
Correct.
So I want to kind of dive into different areas, like explore different things that we do, different strategies that we use, and then see if there's any kind of underlying link so that we can maybe come away with some kind of actionable idea that we can draw into our future challenges. So that if you at home are somebody who is likely to meet a challenge in the next couple of days, weeks, months or years, which is of course almost certain, maybe this podcast will help.
We can actually give out some unlicensed professional advice for once.
Yeah.
Blessed.
Yes.
Blessed.
Yes. So, all right. There's a couple. There's also other motivations for me wanting to bring this up. The first thing is we've set the goal of running our first 100-kilometer race next year. July 12th, 13th, 14th of next year, we're going to be attempting a 24-hour ultra race, 5-mile loop. You can run it as many times as you want, which is why it's quite a nice ultra. Like if we did fail, we can just walk away and still collect the medal and, you know, get our happy pat on the back and be all proud of ourselves. But we want to go for 100k.
That's the target.
62 miles-ish. It's about 13 laps.
Which is funny because everyone that I've spoken to, i.e. my family, about this, I said we're only going to do 50. So we're actually going to do 12 more miles than what I've said, which is fine.
Yes.
That's good.
Well, 50 was the original target.
Okay, but now we've upped it.
But then we realised that 100k was actually not that much further.
Yeah, so
and
you
it
may as
sounds
well.
so much cooler.
It does sound a lot cooler.
Why say
100K.
50 when you could say 100?
Well, you either say 50 miles or 100k, don't you?
But
100k sounds
much bigger
better.
number.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, 3 digits that.
Yes.
Big boy stuff.
Yeah. So when we do that run, though, inevitably we are going to reach a point where quitting seems like the only thing that we can possibly do.
I would say probably more times than we currently think.
Yeah, and we're going to have all the justifications. We're going to have knee injury, ankle injury. We're going to be tired. We're going to be dehydrated. We're going to have fucked up our nutrition or whatever. There's going to be all the reasons in the world, and we're just going to be in that bitch mode.
Yep.
So how are we going to not?
some holiday for me to take off, I think.
How are we going to not?
How are we going to not quit?
Yeah, when we're in that situation, how are we not going to quit?
Well, there's multiple different things, isn't there, in terms of when you're in that situation where, you know, and you've been in it, all your mind is focusing on is like, just stop. Just stop, man. Why are you doing this for? Why are you doing it? Just stop. Go and sit over there. It's a nice comfy sofa, especially in this run. You're going to have like a base camp. So like, go on, just go and lie down in the tent. Go on, have a little lie down. It'll be fine. You'll love it. You know, relax, chill out. And you're going to think, absolutely fucking not am I doing that. And the way I kind of do that, and especially how I've done it on my runs, is I just try and rationalise what that is. All that thought is the comfort Ollie. That's the Ollie that sits in bed, does fuck all day, watches Netflix, and that's it.
He's lame too.
He's lame. He's fucking lame.
He's a dickhead.
It was me a few months ago, right? Let's just be honest here. And that comfort is constant. Every time something hard, every time you push yourself to do something hard, there's constantly that thing that just goes, I want it to be easy. Just be done. But you just have to sit there. And I think the biggest thing for me is rationalising what that is. Which once you give it a sort of, I don't know who said this before. Someone might have said, maybe like Goggins has said it before or someone, but I swear I've heard this before, which is like, if you give it a name, or you give it some form of identity, it makes it a lot easier to battle against. If it's just a thought and it just keeps coming in.
Yeah, like Goggins would call it the inner bitch.
That's it, yeah, literally, yeah. If you call it that, yeah, you're in a bitch. It then gives you something to target and be like, no, I'm not doing this today. You can fucking take a back seat. You know, I'm actually going to finish this race and it's going to be fine. So not only is it a case of rationalising it, it's also thinking about what it's going to feel like to quit. I think that's the other thing. Because what happens is when you think about the end goal, you can get too sucked into the end goal, and I'll come on to this bit in a minute, but you can get too sucked into the end goal when you're like, I just want to get there, I just want to get there, I just want to get there. But when you're in it, that fucking end goal feels like it's about a million years away, doesn't it, you know? Whereas if you sort of understand what that feeling of quitting is going to feel like, which is just like, it's going to be, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, a few hours a day of, oh yeah, I'm chilled out now. But then you get that feeling of like, fuck.
I think it's almost immediate, isn't it? I think as soon as...
It depends on who you are, doesn't it?
As soon as you get your breath back, you're going to be like, fuck.
Why the fuck did I do that? Yeah.
Most
people are anyways.
Yeah.
I would say.
It's a quick decision to make, like it's a rash decision to make, but also the alternative, you can see why you make it. I mean, as soon as you make the decision to quit, you have that, you're like, fuck.
Yeah. Well, Goggins talks about it in the, it's either in his podcast or in his new book. I think it's the 1 second decision, which is rather than, again, like I said, looking at the end goal, just break the next however long down into literally seconds.
Yeah.
Because that's how quickly them thoughts are coming in. It's like every second. So if you, every time that thought comes in, just say no, I'm not doing it. And then that buys you another second. And if you keep doing that repeatedly, you'll end up getting to the end.
I've done that a couple of times before. Like, I've said to you before on the runs when I hit the wall, like say I'll go out for a long run and I've fucked the job. Like I haven't eaten properly beforehand or whatever and I end up lagging. And you get to that point where you're exhausted and your legs feel heavy and you just know you're fucked. Burning and all the rest of it. I will break it down then. I'll run 0.10 of a mile and then walk 0.05. So I'm basically doing the same amount of time of both, but it just allows me, then I've only got to do that for like 5 reps.
Yeah.
And I've pretty much, now and then I'm closing on the mile, like okay, 6, 7 reps, whatever, and then I've got another mile done.
You're just breaking it down.
Yeah.
Breaking it down into smaller chunks.
And I used to do that with school as well, like revising for exams, or I even do it now at work sometimes. Like if there's something creative that I've got to do that's really fucking me up. Like I was rebuilding the Maven website a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't know what to write and like all the rest of it. I didn't know where to put images and like lay stuff out and all that. So I was literally doing like half an hour of that, half hour of pissing about on. I did like a XCOM. I was playing XCOM 2. Yeah. So I was doing like an XCOM mission, which took about half hour. I timed it to make sure. It did take about half hour.
Yeah.
Some were like 25, some were 35, but it averaged out. And then I would go over, do half an hour of the website. And I did that like for 10 reps. And by the end of it, okay, you haven't had the best productivity day in terms of you haven't worked nose to the grindstone all day. You haven't hustled or whatever, but you have ultimately got the website done.
It's a good way of breaking it down.
Yeah.
If you're having one of those days where you are feeling a bit slightly on the end of,
it's better
can't
than
be
nothing,
arsed.
isn't it?
Correct, yeah. And I think there's a limit to that though, isn't there? Like you don't want to just try and do the bare minimum, because then that is like it's better than nothing, I'll just do the minimum. Now you want to try and do a considerable, like make a genuine dent in whatever project you have. But I think that's a good way of breaking it down, to be honest.
Yeah, so like you can definitely masturbate the idea of productivity.
Yeah.
Like you can definitely, like
I used to describe that.
Yeah, I used to do like at least 1 hour every day.
Yeah.
And that was fine.
Yeah.
But then some days the hour would be tidy the desk and like put the batteries on charge, which realistically now I just wouldn't count that as work.
Yeah.
But, it felt like productivity. Whereas actually, if you just fucking get a grip, you're better off taking 6 days off and doing 1 12-hour work day. Guess what? You've still done 5 more hours than what you did doing that fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
So there is an element of, it just comes to self-reflection and just making sure you're actually giving it your best effort.
It's accountability, isn't it? It's just being honest with yourself and what you've actually done.
It's a fallback tactic. It's not the primary mode of assault.
No.
You go in anticipating to do 18-hour days, and then when you start just sitting there blindly, you start breaking, and you hit that point, then you just say, well, what can I do right now?
Yeah.
What would I be
What's the
willing to
first
do right
step
now?
you can make?
Yeah.
And I think there's a reel that I've seen going around on Instagram that's like, I've seen it God knows how many times, but it's an interview of a guy. I don't know who the guy is, but he says he's read a book called The Horse, the Boy, the Fox and the Mole, I think it's called, or something.
Okay.
And basically he says that there's a bit in the book where the boy and the horse are looking into like a really dense forest and they can't see a way through. And the boy says, I can't see a way through. And the horse says, well, can you see your first step?
Oh, yeah,
And the boy says, yeah. And the horse says, we'll just take that.
Yeah.
And that's totally applicable.
Yeah, isn't that a fireman guy or something?
I think it is, yeah. And he's like, it makes so much sense when you think about it, because it's just, don't think about that end result, just think about what you can do now. Because if you continue to do that, you'll hit the end. Like the end is going to come. You just don't want to completely focus on that, because you can't comprehend all of that entire thing, and you're way more likely to just give up if you continue focusing on the end goal. It's a bit like what we had with 10 tours, wasn't it? Like that was a classic thing for us. It was always, you had to go from one tour to the next, to the next, to the next. And rather than thinking, oh, fuck, I've got I've done like 10 miles and I got 40 left to go, or, or more than that, 10 miles, 45 left to go, whatever it is. Rather than doing that, just go, right, we're just going to go to the next tour. Just go next tour, and break it down and just go, right, each individual tour that we're going to go to, that's the leg. Yeah. And that's what we're going to focus on.
And if you had a shit leg, you'd be like a really dodgy, like massive uphill stretch, boggy, whatever. You'd be like, oh, this is going to be a shit leg. You wouldn't think, oh, fuck, I've got 6 legs to go and this is the start of it.
Yeah. No, it's like, this is the shit leg and then we've got a good leg afterwards or whatever it is. Yeah.
Sure. That did wonders for morale too, because you'd sometimes have a opposite, like this leg might be completely uphill and next leg completely downhill.
Yeah, or you thought it was going to be shit because you remember doing it when it was pissing it down with rain back in the winter and it was all boggy and horrible. And then now because it's sunny on the event, you're actually like, oh, it's harder ground, it's easier to walk across. And, it's just about dealing with what you have in that moment, not trying to, put it into context of what you've already done. So, so rationalising it and thinking about it in a way that is, thinking about quitting. Thinking about what that feeling of quitting is going to feel like compared to the feeling of actually completing it and rewarding yourself. That was the biggest thing for me. Also, learning to enjoy the pain. It's another one. So
you can do this too. If you actually really concentrate, next time you feel, you can do this. This is why the gym is such a useful thing to do, because it allows you to just see, if you pick up a weight for 30 reps, it's only 60 seconds of exercise, but you get to see like in super speed, like you get to fast track to that point of breaking.
Yeah.
And you get all those emotions, but without having to do like a 100-mile race where you're not actually going to get to that point till like 8 hours into the race. Like reps, you can do it within 30 seconds, get to that point where you think you're going to quit. But you can, like if you're really burning, if you like, sometimes I close my eyes and I just focus on, for some reason, our brain has connected pain with negativity, and obviously that makes sense. Why?
Survival tactic.
Yeah, it's a survival tactic. If you're feeling pain, you're likely being injured, wounded, whatever. You don't want to be in pain generally. But if you can kind of manually rewire it, if you actually kind of like meditate on it to a certain degree, and you think this is actually a good thing, and you think about all of the positive associations. I think Huberman even talked about this once. Like if you can connect that pain with a positive outcome, that's why you get people like C.T. Fletcher fucking cackling at the idea of their biceps exploding.
Yeah.
Because they know that it's going to change their life for the better. They know that it's a good thing. They know that there's a reward at the end of it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think for me on that point, the whole thing about enjoying the pain, I have it in climbing, particularly when I'm route climbing. So I'm on the end of a rope and they're long endurance-based routes. And you get to a point where you've been climbing for so long that your forearms just feel like they're going to fucking explode. And I had it actually when I was away on my trip. I was doing this 7C thing that I did. And I remember getting right to the top and it was like, I maybe had like 3 or 4 moves left to go. And then I just had to clip the chains and that was it. And I made every move. I was like, I'm fucking gone. I'm fucking gone. I'm fucking gone. And then, but just by carrying on, just doing one more move, eventually I got to the top. Like forearms were screaming to the point where my hands were just like wanting to open, and I managed to clip the chains and then did it. But that kind of ability to be able to just push through and be like, it's going to be over. It's going to be over, but just keep pushing through it. And then that obviously links back to the breaking it down into sections. They're all kind of interlinked with each other. But yeah, if you can learn to enjoy that pain and also just, again, a bit like, with the feeling of quit, or with that sort of comfort noise in your head, call it out. Call out the pain. Understand what that pain is going to bring you. Now, obviously, I know we talked about this in the Esther episode, then there's a difference between pushing through pain to the point where, it's going to like annihilate an injury, like cause like a serious injury, or pushing on through pain because it's just, you just get these weird sort of like pains in your legs and in your knees and stuff, particularly when you're running. So there is a kind of sense of like just knowing what that pain is going to bring you. And then, again, same with 10 tours, and you get like 40 miles round, your feet are in bits, you got blisters and like your legs hurt, but you just carry on.
That's a counsel issue.
Keep putting one thing,
When it comes to an injury that you're actually worried about whether or not you should keep pushing on it, that's a counsel issue. That's why
as in you're talking about like your circle,
in a circle,
not the city council.
Yeah, like if you're on an event and your knee starts hurting and you're wondering whether or not you should exit the race because of that knee pain, you go to the medic tent.
Yeah.
Now, unless you're a fucking psychopath, which like a lot of people are on those races, where you just want to win and you don't care about your knee long term, then you just carry on. You don't speak to the medic because they'll probably tell you to come off. But if you speak to your crew that's there on the event or whoever's there supporting you or the medic tent, and you just try and not be a bitch about it. Oh, my knee hurts, but like actually try to clearly
define what it is.
Articulate the problem.
Yeah, and define what it is. Yeah.
As long as you've got a good team. I mean, if you've got a weak team that's like fannies about everything, oh well, you better come off then.
I mean, you'd like to think if you were doing a race like that, you know, like this 100-kilometer race, you wouldn't have some people in your team that are like that. But
depends, but not everyone's doing 100-kilometer races. Some people are talking about like just being in the gym, you know, with their training partner, and they're like, oh, my bicep kind of hurts, and then they go, oh well, should we just take the day off then? You know, it's like, fuck's sake.
Yeah.
But yeah. So council's involved again.
Yeah, it's massive. Having the correct people around you to, and again, that's another thing with being able to not quit is who you've got around you. Because again, if you're surrounded by quitters, you're surrounded by people that haven't done anything. You know, people that just want to moan and complain, and when stuff gets hard, you know, rather than just being like, no, come on. You know, you want people to push you along, not bring you back.
There's an element of it where, you know, let's say me, you, and my dad are going to be running this 100k race. Let's say we get to mile 25 and you and dad both drop out, or me and dad both drop out. We're like, we're done. We're out of here. How is that going to leave you feeling? Because there is an element of competition between us as well. Like, none of us want to be the first to go out.
No.
We all want to be the last man standing to a certain degree in that race.
Yeah.
We all want to get there. If me and dad quit and you're the only one left and all you've got to do is finish that lap to have won in our group and be the hardest of our group, how much are you really going to want to push to the end? Whereas if the rest of us are just, we get there and you're the only one that doesn't do it, that's going to be savage, right?
So you're saying about how if you guys quit at, I don't know, let's pick a number.
25.
Yeah, 25 kilometres. And I just have to do another lap, which puts me at 26 kilometres.
Instead of 75 kilometres.
And then I'm going to be done. Or I continue to push on and get the 100k done.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Like how less likely are you going to be to complete that?
100%. Like that, you'd have to go to a pretty dark place, I think. I would have to go to a pretty dark place in terms of just like, right, you got to now fucking decide, like, do you seriously want to get this 100k done? You know? I think, hard to know until you're in that situation, right? I'd like to think that I would just continue to doing the 100k. And that's what comfort me sat on the sofa doing a podcast right now would say, you know? But me in absolute bits after 25k. I mean, I'd like to think I could be doing more than 25k, but let's say for the sake of it.
I think we've already done that.
Yeah, we have, yeah.
Yeah,
we have.
But you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, totally.
Whatever, 75k, still 25k
yeah,
go.
or both you drop out with a really bad injury after 25 that you didn't, you know.
And it's just you, that's it.
It's just you, yeah. It's a lot of, well, it's like anything, isn't it? It's going to add a considerable amount of mental pressure to you.
What's up, you winners? Thank you for listening to the Two Beasts podcast so far. Just to let you know, this podcast is sponsored by Maven Visuals Ltd. Maven Visuals is the go-to for video production here in the southwest of England. So if your business needs fresh, engaging video content that will be sure to bring new sales into your company, then don't hesitate to get in touch at www.mavenvisuals.com. Back to the podcast. Back in, Chris has had his little sippy.
Yeah.
He's happy now.
Yeah.
The baby in him is calmed down.
He quit to get some water, everyone.
Cough. Okay, the two things I wanted to touch on. These are big things. First of all, I was thinking about, we've talked a lot about endurance. What about something like, say, a 1 rep max on the bench press? 1 rep is all you got to do, but it's a lot of weight. You don't think you can get it up. If you don't think you can get it up, the chances that you're actually going to get it up are diminished. It's not impossible. I've definitely benched things before that I thought, I haven't got this in me, and then I surprised myself by just having to go.
Yeah.
But you have to at least believe you can go. There is required some element of, some might call it arrogance, some would call it self-confidence.
Self-belief.
Self-belief.
Genuine self-belief.
You have to believe that the objective that you're trying to obtain, you are capable of, which I think is something that we are blessed with, in the sense that we know what that feeling is like. When you've done stuff for the first time, it's really scary. You don't know that you can do it. And then when you realize, oh, I felt all that pain, like I can actually push through it. And you kind of know what that game is. It helps. But you have to have self-belief in your objective. If you're going for your first 100 kg bench press for the first time ever, you have to believe that it's going to go up. Otherwise, you're just putting yourself at a disadvantage. The second thing is, that's fine for a 1 rep max, because ultimately it's either going to go up or it's not. Equally, you have to go into, say, a 100k race believing that you can run 100k, but knowing that you're not always going to believe in yourself for the whole duration of the event. There's going to be a time, like I just know at mile or kilometer 50, halfway, we're going to be fucked. Our legs are going to be ruined. And we're going to have to do it all again, like with the disadvantage of already being 50k deep. That's going to get in my head big time. Because you're also going to have stopped pretty much as well. Like somewhere, whenever you come back into camp at that point, and you could just call it quits there at a 50k race, which I believe is technically an ultra anyway. You're already in ultra
50k,
territory.
I think is, yeah. Feel free to correct us if that's not correct.
Know it all.
Nobody likes to know it all.
No one likes to show off.
Don't use Google either, you cheats.
Yeah.
Fucking cheaters. Anyway, carry on.
Okay, so yeah, you have to go into believing it. But I think Ant Middleton taught me this in one of his books or one of his speeches that he did once. We can already imagine through the training that we've already put in, let alone the training that we're going to put in over the next 12 months. We already know what kind of thoughts are going to creep into our head on the run. We already know that mile 50 is going to be a danger spot. And you can almost imagine the conversation now, like, you're so tired, you've got to do it all again. Like, right now, at full strength, we believe we can do it. Also, we know that these dark thoughts are going to pop up. Oh, that ankle pain, it might get serious. I might not be able to walk for 6 weeks. You know, do I really want to throw away my, do I really want to risk a permanent injury for the sake of this race? Those are the kind of things that are going to come into your head. If you can kind of try to anticipate those, even write those down in advance and have an answer ready for them, so that when the time comes, the more you sweat in training, the less you bleed in war. The more you know what doubts are going to creep into your mind. If you already have an answer for them, there's no excuse on a day. You're not going to get caught off guard by anything. Shocks, like an injury you didn't expect on the event, might fuck you up. But, thoughts that we're going to come in, we know we're going to get tired. We know we're going to hit the wall. We know we're going to fuck up our calories and be starving at some point and have to be trying to work that back. We know we're going to get dehydrated. We know that there's a possibility that we might be pissing Diet Coke because we get a little bit of rhabdo. Not anything serious, but, we know there's a possibility. At least then we can decide whether or not how we act in those situations, which I think is helpful.
Yeah, I think you touched on two separate points. So, because in my eyes, the difference between the mindset you have to have from an endurance event and the mindset you have to have for a strength event, i.e. the 1 rep max compared to running an ultra, two very different mindsets in my eyes. Mm-hmm. So the ultra mindset is like, it's a considerably long period of time that you have sort of like little tiny bits of doubt as you're going along. Obviously they can get bigger and bigger as they go, but it's like, it's a constant stream of doubt. Whereas when you do that 1 rep, let's say it's a bench press, and you get under that bar, and you go, I've got to fucking do this. Otherwise this bar's staying on my chest. Mm. Essentially that's kind of what your thoughts are. And that, in my eyes, is in some way harder than the endurance mindset. Because, and I know Eddie Hall talks about it when he did his 500 kg deadlift, the thoughts that man had to go to in order to lift that thing off the ground. It's like a seriously dark place we're talking about. I know he talks about it openly, but seriously bad thoughts in order to get that thing off the ground, And I just think that is a completely different thing to the endurance mindset. And what we're going to experience is essentially just a constant a constant pushing of thoughts. Whereas when you do the strength thing and it's the one rep, it's like, it's now or never, man. Like, you're either going to get out of it or you're not. You're going to do it or you're not. And that is kind of, that similar mindset is the same sort of thing I experience when I go to jiu-jitsu. When I'm fucking sat underneath someone and he's got his forearm in my face and I'm headed for a choke, whatever it is, I'm like, it's now or never, man. Like, you can't fuck up here. Like, you have to get out of this, otherwise that's it. You choked out, you're done. Whereas I feel like with the endurance mindset, you can kind of like it seems, I don't want to use the word easier because it's not easier. It's just two very different ways of having to deal with that quitting feeling. One, you've got quite a considerable amount of time to try and work your way back, whereas the other one is like, it's now or never, man.
Yeah.
And I feel like those two different mindsets require quite the different strategy.
I often,
if that makes sense.
To go to that Eddie Hall example, I quite often, before I even saw that reel, I did similar things. Like when I do pull-ups sometimes, if I'm trying to go for like 10 and I don't think I've got 10, I'll imagine that I'm like climbing out of a house on fire or something. Like climbing
or a
up
cliff above a
like something,
the sea or something.
Something serious. Like I need to get up there. I need to get up there now or I'm going to die. Same thing with the bench. Like you said, if I don't get this bar off, I'm fucked.
Yeah, it's like a big bit of wood that's going to crush you.
Rubble in a building or something. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it does help. Yeah. It absolutely does help. Yeah. If you can really, but it depends on how well you can actually vividly imagine it. Like if you can imagine, and one thing that I think is interesting, a point that we might touch on here that combines the two, because I do think that there's, the mindset is different. It's not even the mindset, it's the circumstances different.
Correct.
The mindset is actually quite similar.
The mindset is similar, it's just how long you have to perform each, how long you have to use the mindset for, I guess, for lack of a sort of better phrase.
Either way, you have to believe going into it that it can be done.
Yeah, totally.
You have to be ready for the things that are going to catch you off guard. And also, you have to have a good fucking why. You have to have a good reason to do it.
Yeah.
And I don't think, this is why I kind of brought up the thing about, because this is something I've been imagining, like, okay, what if you and Dad quit and I'm the only one still going? Am I going to be happy with just doing better than you? Or am I going to, and having got the furthest in our group? Or is that actually going to fuel me to keep going?
I think one's an ego thing and one's an actual genuine desire.
Exactly.
I think that's the difference.
This is the point I'm getting to. So if you want to just run 100K because you want to be proud of yourself, you might do it if you find running 100K is easy. If I'm running there to make us proud, like us three that have trained the whole way, like 10 tours, we didn't want to let the entire team down. That's why we pushed when we started falling behind on time.
Yeah.
We started creeping. On 10 tours, there were times where, cut-off times, where if you didn't get to a certain place by a certain time, you were kicked off the course. If I was the reason that we got kicked off because I was tired and complaining, or I had mismanaged my equipment, or I was just being a dickhead, that would have crushed me more than if I was just on my own and I decided to give up.
Yeah.
So I think having a purpose that's bigger than just yourself is huge.
Yeah, because it gives you something to strive for, doesn't it? When you have that sense of, and again, it's kind of why having the council is so important, that small group of people, because that's the people you actually want to make proud. And you actually want to, make their lives better or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just have it for yourself and it's just a bit, and there is some element of selfishness in it, because you wouldn't go and run a 100-kilometer race if part of you as an individual didn't want to do it. But, and I often think about this, I can't remember who I said this to someone the other day, but basically like, in terms of not quitting and all this sort of stuff that I've started doing with like my side business and doing the podcast and all that sort of thing, my mission now is to essentially in life is to kind of say that the people around me closest to me can say that Ollie Jarrett guy, he's someone else.
Well, this is what I was going to ask you. Like, you've started this business and you want to get more wealth and all the rest of it. I know my answer to this question. Do you really give a fuck about having more money yourself? Are you starting this business because you want to be richer? Or are you doing it because you answer this as honestly as you can, because it might be different. It might be like different stages. It might be a different answer at different times.
Yeah.
is it that you want more money, or is it you want everyone around you to know that they can rely on you?
So it's kind of a combination of the two. I want more money because I feel like what money brings is freedom, and it brings you a lifestyle that means it's kind of like a don't give a fuck type attitude. Not in a bad way, I think in quite a positive way, in terms of like I don't need, I've made this, not through just myself, but I've made this from scratch, and and I want more money, and I want more money because I like nice things, I'd like to have a nice car, I'd like to have a nice house. I'd like to give, but not just me, it's the people around me that I want to give it to. And not even just the wealth. Like, I think the wealth thing for me is just a sort of, it's just an added bonus that's like, it just so happens that what I want to do now is build a business. Now, what comes with building a business, if it's successful, is money. Great. But what I want to do is leave a legacy to the point where my nephew, my son, my daughter, my family can be like, Ollie Jarrett, he's my uncle. He's a fucking cool uncle. Ollie Jarrett, he's my dad. He's a fucking cool dad. Oh yeah, he's my grandson. He's my son. Fucking cool guy. He's done this. He's done this himself. He's done this in his life. He's done this. He's built a business. He's become a great climber, professional route setter. Like all of these accolades that I want to list off, And I think that is the biggest thing for me, and the reason why I don't want to just stay where I am, and I don't want to just quit and going back to the quitting thing. Don't want to just sit here and just be like, oh, it's comfortable now. I earn however much I earn a year, and that's it. Like you said to me the other day, it's a salary trap, right? It's the idea of just being like, yeah, I'm done now. It's like, no, I'm not fucking done. Like, I've got people now around me and a growing family of people that I've just had this weird realization that I feel like I've been put on this planet for more than just being a fucking
I think
climber.
I think that
for
is,
lack of a better sort of way to put it,
You know what I think?
Probably sounds pretty arrogant, but there we go.
I think older men will be able to tell us whether I'm right on this or not. But do you know what I think that is? I think that's us as young men becoming men.
Yeah.
I think that's realising what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, I found my purpose.
We are supposed to go out and suffer on behalf of the community in order to bring back spoils so that everybody can eat. That is traditionally speaking what we are built for. That is evolutionarily what we are built for.
I feel like I found my purpose.
That's where our reward systems are based. Mm-hmm. That's what everything that we are structured internally is geared towards. The ones that survived those times had that mindset. So it makes sense that it's in us now.
Yeah, and all the other stuff that set off our dopamine and our reward systems is all just distractions now.
I used to say, I was thinking about this the other day when we were young, like school kids. I said to you one day, I'm going to be like super rich or whatever, and one day you're just going to be at home with your family or whatever, and a letter's going to just slide through the door, and it's going to have 10 grand.
10 grand in it.
Yeah. And I made you this 10 grand promise.
Yeah.
And I thought the other day how fucking stupid I was. To think that, there was a couple of reasons why that was stupid. One, I was thinking way too small with 10 grand. It's just not a lot of money. Two, why did I think that I was going to be able to somehow do it on my own?
What's up, winners? If you're loving this podcast, make sure to drop us a 5-star review on Spotify. And if you aren't already, be sure to follow us on our social media channels. That's YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. 2 Beast Podcast, the number 2 Beast Podcast. Get back to the show.
Yeah, as we were, first of all, working on this podcast, I was thinking about it. This could be way bigger than 10 grand.
Easily.
And we've actually just built something together.
Yeah.
That's worth way more than 10 grand in an envelope, in a mail, that you're just going to fucking...
And even the 2 businesses, i.e. your Maven that you've already got, and the business that I'm about to start, we're going to be coexisting in both of those, I'd like to think.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Just you when we were bouncing ideas back and forth, you're like, oh, what do you think of this name or whatever? It's like me providing whatever assistance, just a sounding board, if nothing else. You're going to be the one that goes and does the work.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm going to build a business for you or help you in any meaningful way. I'm not expecting fucking shares, but just by being a sounding board and us building our businesses together and you bouncing off each other's energy, is going to be worth far more than 10 grand. Like, what a fucking stupid thing to say.
Yeah.
And be like impressed with myself.
Yeah.
And I think that's because I was a boy then. And I had a boy's mindset, which was still kind of...
I just want to get rich.
I want to get rich.
Yeah.
I want to do this. I want to do this.
Yeah.
And then you slowly realise as you get deeper into manhood. And I haven't got a wife or a family or anything like that yet. But I can imagine that then you reach another level again. Like when your fucking son is born in the world and now you've got this baby you've got to take care of. It's just going to be completely different again, isn't it?
Yeah, well, people say that all the time, don't they? You know, like, and I hear it a lot in like fighters and stuff, and they say it, and they're like, when I've had a kid, it completely changed everything because their focus shifts away from them and onto their kids. That they think that's what I'm doing it for. I'm not doing it for me now. I'm doing it for them. You know, you've talked about it, like paying your parents' mortgage off and stuff like that. Like, I'd love to be able to do, you know, I don't know how far my parents are. I remember talking to them about it the other day.
They'll beat me to it.
I don't think they've got that much left. But if I could pay my sister's mortgage off, and she's like 5 years older than me, I'll fucking take that. You know, and I'd do that way before I do anything for myself. You know what I mean? Like, I'd always put that money into other people first.
I think so. So to conclude the point that I sort of opened this up with, I still don't care about money. I remember my dad giving me shit when I was like 19 because I wanted to just travel the world, and I was like, I don't care about money. It's not all about money. And he was like, yeah, it is actually, and he was right.
Yeah.
But I still don't care about it. I don't care if I've got a lot of money in my bank. I don't care if I can go out and spend 100 grand. I don't care. I don't even want the nice car and the nice house. When you're away, you're going away tonight on Reading.
Yeah.
This is I don't know if we mentioned this on a podcast before. I've got a perfectly good fucking bedroom up there, a perfectly nice bed. It costs a lot of money, that bed. When he goes away and I'm home alone, I fucking sleep on the couch because I can wake up and the desk is right there, and I just, I don't have to walk down the stairs. It's just better.
Efficiency.
Yeah. I just enjoy it.
The ultimate form of efficiency.
When I was at uni, I spent 3 months sleeping on the fucking floor rather than the bed right there, because when I slept on the floor, it wasn't as comfortable, so I could get up earlier and get more shit done. Like, I don't care about comfort. I don't care about luxury. I don't want it. Money in of itself. If money wasn't the thing that I could exchange for experiences, knowledge, fucking things that would people around me find helpful, I would have zero purpose for it. Unfortunately, I need to live somewhere.
Yeah.
And if I don't live in a house, I need to be able to pay for a car.
Yeah.
And I need to be able to, be, what it's like when you're broke. Like, you're fucking useless. You're no use to anybody. Like, what are you going to do when...
You feed off other people.
And You go out to meet up with your friend and catch up over a beer, and then you're just hoping they pay for it because you haven't got any money in your account. Like, you're a bum.
Yeah.
Like, you just feel like a bum. That's the only reason I want money, so that I can pay for the tab.
Yeah.
Not as like some weird ego trip thing.
No. Just
because you just feel useful.
Yeah, and it's a nice thing to do, isn't it? And again, that just comes back to what you're doing it for. Like I know I mentioned about the fact that I like them up, but I like having nice cars. I think for me it's also about fulfilling dreams and dreams that I've had since I was a kid. Like since I was a kid, I've had posters of Lambos and Ferraris and stuff in my bedroom.
Yeah, I never did.
No, I know, but from my perspective, and I had photos of bikes and all that, and I'm like, if I can fulfill that, and I can do that for me, no one's giving me that thing. It's like, not only is it going to be a sense of, I've earned this Lambo. Like, it's not, no one's giving it to me. No one's just been like, oh, there you go, Ollie, I feel bad for you. Here's a Lambo. I've earned that shit. That's what that thing means to me. It's not a case of like, I'm just going to go out and buy it because I can buy a Lambo. It's like, no. I've wanted a Lambo since I was like 5 years old. And by fucking jingo am I going to go and get myself a Lambo, the first fucking thing I can get. I'll probably sell it. I'll probably have it for like a few weeks, experience it, and then go, right, fine, that's done.
Clutch will go, head gasket will go.
Yeah, some shit like that.
You'll have to smash the window.
Yeah, and it'll cost me like £3 million to get it fixed. It's more the experience. It's not the thing. It's the experience that it gives and fulfilling a childhood dream.
I'm going to have to disagree with you there. Because you're talking about your childhood dream.
So there is a sense, correct, you're right, and I know exactly what you're going to say, because I'm talking about me, and it's a me thing, which is right.
You're not important.
Correct.
That money that you've just spent on that Lambo,
yeah,
you could have paid your sister's mortgage off with.
First. The priority is other people.
Yeah.
me comes second.
Okay.
It's always other people first, then I sort myself out.
Okay.
It's always been like, right, make sure parents are done, sister's done, nephew's got all of this sort of stuff, probably my son and my wife by that point. Make sure everyone else before me. So what I don't want is to feel like I've taken all the money and gone, right, I'm going to fucking fulfill my shit. No. They come first. And if I've got no money left over, I'm going to have to wait. I'm going to go and fucking hustle harder and get more money in order to then fulfill those things.
Kids in Somalia or whatever starving to death.
Yeah.
Do you cure hunger before you get your Lambo?
Whoa.
No, you don't. I guarantee you, the way you're talking now, you don't.
Probably not. But then maybe I would after I've experienced. I don't know. It's all hypothetical, isn't it?
I think your Lambo can fucking suck my ass. I don't think we're going to... Listen,
but what about making enough money to do all of it?
In all seriousness, well, first of all, I don't think you can. I don't think you can. I think even, if you have a supercar, cool. Like, it's not my thing, right? I just don't care about them. Maybe you like them, maybe it's your thing. Maybe you've got so much money that you can spend fucking $1 million on a car and that's what you want to do. I'm not here to judge anyone, right? I don't have the choice at the minute. I'll work on getting the choice first, and then we'll worry about the fucking semantics of the morality involved.
Yeah.
But I don't think that in the real world, it's going to be that simple. I don't think that we're going to make a ton of money, get to a point where that's it, we've made it now, we can buy a Lambo. I think that that's going to be a direct sacrifice. If we become men of significant wealth to the point where we are a beacon of provision to everyone around us, like our team, we're a useful source of nourishment to our we can provide for our family, our friends, people that, we can invest in our friends' businesses, whatever. I think that will be directly a trade-off with stress, risk, worry. I don't think that we're going to be in a position where, unless you have an exceptional ability to withstand pressure, which will build up over time, I don't think that you're going to be like, cool, it's Sunday, I'm free, I'll go out on my Lambo. You'll be working. It will be a sacrifice. You will sacrifice yourself in order to provide all these things for all these other people so that they can follow their dreams. That's what the world is built on. That's what the wars were about. That's what World War II veterans did. They gave their lives so that we have freedom. In the same way, I think that if you go into the realm of business and you start building businesses and you start taking risks, taking gambles, employing people, getting stress, all the rest of it, you are now giving up your child dreams. Your childhood dreams of you owning a Lambo aren't important anymore. That's just going to fucking derail you. That's just a hedonistic fucking antichrist method about going about things. And if you do that, I think that would be a mismanagement of the response. If you get given a gift by, say, God or whoever you believe, whatever you believe in, the universe, if you're an atheist, like the laws of the land, if you've done all of the right things to be rewarded with money, doing something as stupid as then, okay, well now I'm going to get my best house, my best cars and my best clothes and spend it all on me and fulfilling my childhood dreams, and you behave selfishly with that, even remotely, I think you run a substantial risk of being punished. By religious people will say by God, you might say by the universe, someone might say by karma, it doesn't matter. If you start acting like a dickhead, and you start making foolish, childish decisions, you've got to assume that, when you were a child and you had these dreams about what you thought life would be, you were immature. To then get money and be in a position of responsibility and expect to still be able to make immature decisions, I think that's a big, big gamble.
Maybe. From my perspective,
You just want a nice fucking car, don't you?
I do. I like a nice car.
Mate.
But hey, maybe I'll change my mind. But a lot of people who still have both of those ideals can still have nice things. Keanu Reeves is a good example of that. Keanu Reeves gives nigh on the majority of the money he makes from anything he does to charity.
Yeah, you can probably do both.
Yeah, he still has nice bikes. He still has nice clothes.
You can absolutely do both. I think
I totally see what you're saying.
I think Keanu puts people first.
Yeah, and the way I probably phrased it then made it sound like I would have done the Lambo first, but that's not what I meant.
Yeah, I want to be rich so I can buy a Lambo.
That's not what I meant.
Yeah.
What I meant was I want to be rich so that I can do my council first. Then I can, do the other stuff. If I have enough money to do that, I might not. I might have to sort my family out first, or do whatever, and then it gets to. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Who knows what's going to fucking happen? I might not get any money yet. This might all fall for fucking tits.
Well, I mean, this
know.
might, but I mean, something, if it doesn't, it's the quitting thing again, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
To bring it full circle
Well, no,
back.
then you take the lessons that you've learned and you then apply them to the next thing, and you don't give up. That was actually the last thing I was going to bring up, was about taking those lessons.
Yes.
Rather than quitting, getting to the end. Failing is completely different to quitting. Mm-hmm. When you quit, you make an intentional choice to give up.
Yeah.
When you fail, you've just lost.
Yeah.
But with failure comes lessons. When you quit, you don't learn anything. So when you fail, that's the key. Because if you can tell, like your dad was saying earlier about all the businesses he's done and all that sort of stuff, it's the lessons now that he can now take and put into those next businesses that he does. That's the most important thing.
Well, and like we were saying earlier, we were talking about your new business earlier, and I said to you that even if that thing completely fucking collapsed, it was a complete bomb, and it just looked ridiculously shit. Worst case scenario, doomsday, it's shit.
Yeah.
You will at the very least be able to identify with enough thought and care and analysis why it failed.
Yeah. Correct.
Good enough.
That's all we want.
Well, it is time for us to get moving. Ollie's got a train to catch. It was a slightly shorter episode today, but hopefully we managed to squeeze out as much time as possible to make sure that it wasn't.
I feel like the entire thing was good.
Yeah,
a lot of information squeezed into quite a small episode.
Yeah, maybe in
nice.
future episodes, we'll go into these topics a bit more in depth and stuff. Feel free to leave comments in the YouTube comment section, or on Spotify. You can also leave feedback as well. We actually see them. I found that out today. Esther put a comment about how she's like, I forgot to wear trousers on a podcast because her dress rode really high up her legs.
Brilliant.
So you can leave those comments if you would like us to delve into these topics a bit more and keep exploring. We're exploring these. Yeah. We're not claiming to be experts. No. This is just, we're going into our personal experiences and trying to figure out if there's something there that we can draw out of it.
Yeah.
And
just our thoughts and opinions on stuff.
Hopefully we find it useful, and hopefully, more importantly, you find it useful. Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to the Two Beast podcast. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share this podcast on whatever your preferred platform is. We'll see you next time. All the best.